It's a little after 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, January 14th, and Bruiser is reclining. It's a beautiful sunny day, but the weather's going to get worse. It's going to get colder soon, and at least at night especially. So right now he's basking out here. He loves being out in the sun, in the patio, and is very, very secure here with me. Hi, Bruce. What's going on, Brucey? No answers today? Now we'll just, I don't know what we're going to do. This is an update on the garden. It is January 14th, 2023, about 11:15 in the morning. We're going to be heading to a cold spell, more cold temperatures at night, in the low 20s actually, but we're kind of in the middle of the end of the winter growing season. You can see here I've got a lot of wild dandelion overtaking what's left of the radishes. The collards are still growing. Some of them I've already pulled as they've gone to seed, but you can see a lot of them are beginning to reach the end of their life. You can see that's going to go to seed soon. So I'll be planting a different crop, a different type of collards this year rather. The ones I really like, the Georgia Southern, I believe. They're not as tall. This was a special type that I got from Johnny's, but I don't really care for them that much. Here's where you really can see the big change since the solstice and the sun, longer days, much more sun. And you can see how the Chinese cabbage is definitely going to seed. I've pulled plants already. You can see there are many going to seed now, the large stalks. Now this is really interesting. Today I found something. That is a rutabaga. That's the first time I've ever tried to grow them. It's not round, it's kind of cylindrical, but it's a start. I did something. The mustard is looking a little bit limp, but it's here. Some of it's still growing well. But we're coming to the end on some of the mustard as well, probably in terms of its life cycle. This is a view of the garden from the other side. Again, you can see the tall stalks of the Chinese cabbage going to seed. Down here is another bunch that I planted. It's much shorter. I don't know why. It's a little later. It's a lower growing model of it, I guess, but it's the same seeds. I have no idea why. It's a different look. There is dandelion in there growing. I pick it when it gets tall enough, but it'll go to seed as well. Some of it is already, at least older plants did go. These are the turnips, and you can see how big some of the turnips got. I've been pulling turnips, but this looks like pretty much soon I'll have to pick some more. There are actually radishes in here. I started pulling radishes yesterday. As you can see, there are a couple of big, oh my God, that's a big radish in there. But the arugula, of course, is still doing its thing. I just can't believe how well arugula does here in the winter. Here's another view of the turnips. My gosh, they're huge. Look at them. Wow. I have to say, these are the biggest turnips I've ever grown. It's amazing. And there's another radish here too. That's still growing. Little baby radish maybe still. There you go. And here's the last little bed. The last little bed has chard. This is a new crop this year, and it's really doing well. Now, the kale I have here is very old. This is coming to the end of its life. It's been in the ground maybe almost 2 years, so it's going, and I will be planting more kale for the spring from seed, get a fresh start. But this is harvested. This has been harvesting for months and months now. And it's a wonderful thing to have a steady supply of vegetables for so long. Chard is gorgeous though. Oh, look at that. I just keep picking it, it keeps growing. This is the cardoon. I'm going to have to start picking again. I don't want it to get frozen out in the very cold weather coming. It should be okay, but the leaves are big enough here that I can get a few stems, a few stalks from it and make a nice little dish. This is what's going on in the pots. Escarole here, doing very nicely. It's good. A little bit of lettuce mixed in with that wild dandelion. I always have that going. Remnants of parsley. This is just a plant that's going to be it's perennial decorative plant. It's just laying low for now. Some oregano, and these are autumn joy sedums that I keep under wraps during the winter. But if you look really closely, guess what's coming? Little buds are already coming up. This one shows them better. There you go. So spring is on the way. And there's something else in the garden that tells me that spring is on the way, even though we're going to have such cold weather coming up. This is London Rocket. It's all over my yard here. It usually grows in a taller way, but I don't know, maybe it's just starting out. It'll become more upright. But I've got it really all over the ground here. You can see it all over the ground. I can get there. Yeah, it's just growing prolifically. But I will eat this because it's bitter, not too bitter, but it's definitely a green that is edible. It's kind of like an arugula almost. So that's what's going on the ground here. Of course, here is where Chaska, the desert box turtle, is sleeping it off for the winter. Now, in February, it may get warm enough that she comes out. We'll have to see. But that'll be just for a day, because she will be hibernating probably into April, into maybe even May, depending on the weather. I'll just finish off here with a little scan around the garden. You can see the mountains in the back there. You can see my patio garden. And as we go around, we have all sorts of plants, kind of dormant. Texas Rangers, birds of paradise, vitex, yuccas, red yuccas, more rocket in there. Oh my God, it's spread all over now. This is a pomegranate bush, bush. I don't get much out of it, but it does grow. It's green. And if you go this way, you can see the grapevines, which I will be pruning soon and cutting way back. And this is the chocolate flower. I've got a couple of those around, and I have to kind of get them trimmed back, but they'll start to grow again. They're perennial. And in the really corner over here are the chives. The chives last really all year, and they spread around. So I love chives, and they're the stems, and I let them go to seed. I just let things go. The birds eat the seeds, and it's good for them to have a fresh source of seeds. There you go, and here's the chives again down here. I've got chives all over the place, but this is the chocolate flower, which will be beautiful in a few months. That's the tour of the garden. I hope you've enjoyed it. So have a good rest of the day, and hopefully the winter progresses nicely for you. We're going to hit a rough spot soon, but it's okay. We always have sun most of the time.